right, welcome back to another edition of Forgotten Firsts. This is the video series where I look at those first appearances of characters that people just forgot about, overlooked, just things most people aren't thinking about, or just some characters you may not even know where their first appearance might be. Just some random things that might pop up out there, and just some characters that just aren't at the top of everyone's pull list these days. Now this week, I was actually planning to do these particular characters and books last week because these are all based off of some comics I actually picked up. I picked up all of these first appearances this past week, or last week, I should say. But then that idea of the also in kind of took over. So that's why last week's video was a little bit different and a little bit special, because I kind of got excited by the idea and just had to put it out right away. So I kind of pushed these guys to this week, which hopefully isn't a disservice to them, because these are some interesting characters and books that I was happy to grab, again, for cheap. So that's the point. These are usually books that are pretty inexpensive that you can still find out there if you go hunting and just go looking, because again, they're characters that a lot of people just aren't thinking about right now for one reason or another. Not to say that these are going to be like big score investments or anything like that. This is just for the fun of collecting and the fun of the hunt. These are just some things that you can go and probably find if you go looking in your LCS or in those cheap boxes out there, and just something to stash away just in case, just for kind of fun. So hopefully you enjoy that and you're enjoying the stuff that I'm putting out here on the channel. If you are, let me know in the comments, and subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Again, everything's going out at least once a day. At least once a day I have something showing up on the channel. So hopefully you're enjoying that, as well as checking out the daily polls. I'm having fun throwing out these polls just to get your guys' feedback on just randomness. Some stuff related to the channel, some stuff related to comics, some movies, video games, whatever's popping in my head at that time, I'm throwing out there. So let's have a conversation and let's have some fun. That being said, just hang on for a couple of seconds and I'll be right back with this week's first appearances. All right, so what do we have this week? Well, as I stated in the open, these are all based on things I actually picked up when I was hitting those cheap boxes this past week. So I actually found all of these for $1. Just throwing that out there. These were all in a $1 box, and that's where I found them. But I'm trying to get more of these Forgotten Firsts back out there, because that was the series that started this Forgotten series, and I kind of neglected it for a few weeks while I was doing Forgotten variants and Forgotten reprints. Those are the videos that I'm going to do where I'm talking about variants and some variant sets that are just from years ago that people just aren't thinking about these days, as well as those forgotten second prints, third prints, later printings that a lot of people might not just be aware of. Because again, this is the kind of stuff that I like to hunt. The things that not everybody's thinking about. That's not like the hot book of the week. It's just random stuff, because it's stuff you can sometimes find for cheap, and maybe it ends up being a good return for you if you want to go and resell it, or just something fun to collect for just a very small amount. That's where I like to play, and that's where I like to collect, because I don't have a ton to spend on most of this stuff. While I can buy the occasional big book, for the most part, I'm a cheap comic book hunter. That being said, this week's dollar bin pickups helped me come up with some characters that we can talk about for our Forgotten First, because, again, I found these in a dollar bin. Maybe you find them in your dollar bins or cheap boxes. The first one being Hawkeye. Hawkeye Blind Spot. Not Hawkeye, but in Hawkeye Blind Spot, issue 1 from February 2011, you get first Trick Shot. Well, the Barney Barton as Trick Shot, because Trick Shot is a character that existed before, but this is Barney Barton taking over the mantle of Trick Shot in this issue of Hawkeye Blind Spot. And this one actually does kind of all right on the back issue market, the aftermarket. But that being said, Barney Barton is a character. I don't know if we're going to see him or get him teased or introduced at all in the Disney Plus show. It would seem kind of weird at this point to introduce a brother that hasn't been mentioned before, but you never know. You never know. It's something they could do, and if they did that, it could definitely drive the price of this book up a little bit more. But that being said, Barney Barton isn't the first Trick Shot. As I said, the first Trick Shot was actually way back in the 80s in the Solo Avengers #1, where it was a different character that played a different guy by the name of Buck Chisholm. Yeah, Buck Chisholm. That's a tough sounding name. Sounds like an old Western character, but a little heavier set guy too, to go along with that, which is kind of interesting. You get different shapes and different sizes. Not everybody has to have that same, physique in all of the characters that we get in comic books and on screen. So, who knows? Maybe we get a Buck Chisholm on the Hawkeye show at some point, or this, or a later run if they come up with a second season or series, what have you. But in this issue of Blind Spot, we actually do get the passing of this torch, and you can see that Buck Chisholm was kind of like a mentor of sorts to Hawkeye, to Clint Barton, as he was growing up. Kind of taught him the ropes and taught him how to shoot. And you can see here, even at the end, despite this guy being a bad guy and a villain, where they faced off a couple of times, he still is there for him at the end. But yet, the mantle of Trickshot is then passed on to his brother, who is hanging out with the wrong crowd there, Zemo. But still, cool image. Definitely cool way to end this book. So this Hawkeye book is, like I said, an interesting one to keep an eye out for. Like I said, it's already a little bit pricey, so don't go looking to buy one right now. You can see this thing sells for anywhere from like $11 to like $22. It's not too bad, but still, it's not generally something you're always going to find at a dollar bin, because I think a lot of people have been scooping this up because they were speculating, I think, a lot on Hawkeye and who might show up in the show. And even though we got a couple of trailers now, I don't think we're going to get a Trickshot or a Barney Barton, but still, that doesn't stop people from putting their money towards it. So look for it for cheap, but just keep an eye on it is all I would say. Which is going to take us to our next book, which is a book that heated up a while ago with the original Captain Marvel movie, but has since died down because the movie passed, character introduced. People forget. People move on. But I don't think they should move on completely, because Hulk 418 in June of 1994 features the first appearance of Talos. Now, why should you still care? Because Talos is still in the MCU. Not only is he in the MCU, he was playing Nick Fury for God knows how long. I don't know how long he was pretending to be Fury. Do we know? I don't know if we got that answer yet. Maybe we'll get it soon. But Talos is a character we're going to see more of, whether it be in Secret Invasion or the next Captain Marvel movie, or anything that could involve Fury, since Fury's out in space, but the Fury we have on Earth is Talos. Just something to keep in mind. Definitely something to keep in mind. So, again, this book heated up a couple of years ago because of the movie, the first Captain Marvel movie, and everybody started looking for this. It was also a wedding issue, Rick Jones and whatnot, but one to keep an eye out. There's a couple of versions. There's like a die cut cover with a fold out. There's there's newsstands also to be included in that. And yes, the appearance of Talos inside isn't much. It's basically right here. This couple of panels. He's at this wedding. That's really it. So it's not a great first for him, but also kind of fun to look in this book. Kind of a second little thing is I don't know if you're looking at the panels, but if you look down below, there's the hint of another character just kind of popping up from the Vertigo side, the DC universe showing up. This looks a lot like Death to me. And I'm sure that's who it's supposed to be, but it's not clear. It's just kind of hinted at, but Sandman Death showing up in the Marvel universe. It's just kind of fun. It's definitely kind of fun, but that's the kind of stuff like Peter David would do in his books. He would just drop little fun nuggets and things like that in there. So that's just a little side note about this book, because again, the Talos appearance itself is just a couple of panels. It's not really a whole heck of a lot to write home about. If you want to see more of that Talos first appearance, you got to go to the next issue where you see him fighting against the Hulk. It's Talos the Tamed, Talos the Untamed. But spinning out of Rick and Marlowe's marriage or their wedding comes this brawl. So just something to keep in mind. So this is the book where you're getting the first full fight and everything like that. So if what you're looking for in the first appearance, this is probably the first full, whereas the other one would be more of a cameo, 418. So keep an eye on 419 as well. Just saying. But still, 418 is the book that does have those first panels. So you definitely want to pay attention to that one first, because that's where I think the market is right now, is more so on what's actually showing up first and not shifting in that 180, not shifting to like 180. They're kind of sticking with 181 for the old stuff, but the new stuff, Cameo is enough. Cameo seems to be enough these days. But that being said, what will this cost you out there? Anywhere from 99 cents to you can see $22 for the pair, or a best offer for $10. So this is maybe a $10 book at best, or you can get it as cheap as $1. So just something to keep in mind. So you can find this for $1. I'd scoop one up just in case we see more of Talos and he becomes more of a fixture in the Marvel Universe, because it doesn't look like they're really playing him to be a villainous Skrull. It looks like he's going to be one of the good guys, so maybe he hangs out for a little bit longer than we might expect. That being said, another character that might be hanging out longer than we would have expected is here in Secret Origins number 46 from December 1989. This is the first arm fall-off boy, or TDK. Yep, the detachable kid, who was played by Nathan Fillion in the most recent Suicide Squad movie. Yes, Suicide Squad. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. I thought it was definitely a good time. I'm excited to see some more. I'm looking forward to the Peacemaker show. I don't know if we're going to get to see Fillion show up there, but the reason why I bring this up, and I believe I've talked about this on the news with Marco on our Wednesday show, is that there was that tweet just a couple of weeks ago where Fillion had pointed out, and James Gunn had also confirmed, like, hey, look, the detachable kid wasn't dead. He was in critical condition. Unlike the rest of the team that was killed on that beach in the opening, Fillion made it out. Does that mean we'll see him again? I don't know. But maybe. Maybe we see him again. So in that case, we should just pay attention to his first. And there's no reason this should be $1 book. Pick it up for $1. That's what I did. Found it for $1. So that's why I grabbed it. Because you never know. Maybe we get a little bit more of the detachable kid. Even though in the comics, he was arm fall-off boy, which you can see him there in the center. Yeah, that's an interesting look. Looks like a weird metamorpho He-Man character, just reversed. Like, I don't know why he's got such a hefty bottom and very, very narrow shoulders. But yeah, interesting look with those thing thighs. I don't know. But that being said, it's not the greatest look for a first appearance, but it is his first appearance. And yeah, detachable arm fall off boy. His arms just plorp, they pop off. Yeah, it was kind of fun to see in the movie. I don't know how it works. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, but this is comics, guys. It has to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. But that being said, if you find this thing for cheap, just for fun, I don't know, keep an eye on it. So Secret Origins 46. I know I probably talked about this a couple times on other things because I've looked a lot into Suicide Squad, looking ahead to it and all that. But still, since I picked one up for $1, I felt like it was worth talking about one more time. One more time for good measure. And like I said, if you're looking at what this thing's actually selling for on the aftermarket, this thing, $5 to $15. Not a ton, but still not, yeah, still not super cheap, but yeah, $5 ain't too bad. $15 isn't a bad return either. If you find it for $1, you can flip it for 15, if that's what you're into. Up to you what you want to do. All I'm saying is, if you can find these books for cheap, it might be worth just grabbing one to stash away and just saving it for another day. Who knows? We might get more. I mean, Fillion is a fun actor. I don't know if we're ever gonna get like a starring series of the detachable kid or arm fall off boy, but it's worth grabbing for cheap, is all I'm saying. And I don't know. Hopefully you enjoyed this little look at a couple of first appearances that again you can find for a couple of bucks, maybe for cheap. So I think it's worth paying attention to and worth picking up if you find them for just $1 or $2. So keep that in mind. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as the other stuff I'm putting out here on the channel. If you are, let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Continue to tell your friends so we keep growing this thing a little bit more. And yeah, I'll start working giveaways back in as we start marching forward to bigger and better things, right? I don't know. Having fun doing this. Continue to look forward to it. And I appreciate all you guys. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys soon.